Let's take a look at Sunday of Week 8. Who do we add in to try and stream to win the matchup? Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I've just suffered a calf strain. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, go to FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We're free, we're available on all platforms, and we are part of the number one sports podcast network, the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making us number one. And thank you to everyone in the Locked On Network as well for pushing us to number one. All right, we're talking about Sunday, but we'll talk about that in a sec, because just before I have gone to air here, there was news about an injury that sort of came out of nowhere. The old koala, Evan Mobley. You'd be shocked to know has a calf strain. He's out 2 to 4 weeks. Yes, there are a lot of calf strains this season. This is true. That is true. A lot of calf strains. I don't know. I am not paid, nor is it my job to figure out why that is the case. There are plenty of reasons why. There's plenty of reasons why there's extra caution, even though I think some of that extra caution is a little unfounded. I know we had 2 Achilles pop after calf strains in Halliburton and Durant over the last few years, but that's it. There's a lot of calves going, and that's where Mobley is. Now, I guess the question you want to ask is, what does that mean? Who's the pickup in Cleveland? And I'm actually not sure that there is. It'll depend a bit on Jarrett Allen. If Allen is back, well, it just becomes a straight swap. Allen for Mobley. Now, Allen won't play the exact minutes that Mobley is playing, but he will just move into that starting center spot, so Jaylon Tyson's floor stays raised. You would hope DeAndre Hunter's floor stays high enough, although he's been bad. Deeper leagues, you'll look at Nae'qwan Tomlin and Tom Bryant in those 200 deep leagues, and nothing really changes too much. That just becomes a straight swap. Allen in, Mobley out. In fact, what could happen is Allen could come in and Slam and Sammy Merrill could come in and could actually hurt players' values versus helping them. That could happen. But if we get the scenario where we've got no Allen and no Mobley and no Larry Nance, I think it's almost going to have to be Tom Bryant that starts at center, because Nae'qwan Tomlin's not really a center. He's like a power forward who can sort of play at the 3 a little bit, maybe some small ball minutes at the 5, but he's not really a center. He will get a bump. He would have to play more minutes. He'll have to play some center. And I think he's a better overall producer than what Tom Bryant is, but I wouldn't be rushing to grab Bryant. I wouldn't be rushing to grab Tomlin, because again, maybe that happens in one game and then Allen's back the next one, and that all doesn't matter. So who's the ad? Again, Hunter's value up, Tyson's value up. Tomlin and Bryant might get real bumps for one game. They might get them for 0. So don't go and sacrifice in shallow formats for Tomlin or for Bryant. I don't see that being relevant. What you just feel better about is that Jaylon Tyson's value remains high. Hunter's is higher. Strus might be coming back in a couple of weeks. But the scenario will just be very short term while both Allen and Mobley are out. And I think Bryant and Tomlin would be both useful streamers, but it's very hard to know which one. And this is not a long-term, hey, we've got 6 weeks of great value coming. It might be 0 games. Which means don't waste brain power, don't waste ads, don't drop someone good in order to try Nae'qwan Tomlin, or in order to try Tom Bryant in that scenario. Now what we can do is we can actually get in to look at Sunday's NBA action. Let's take a look at the schedule. Early start, 3 p.m. game between Washington and Indiana. So we do have the early start game for what day is it? Sunday's games. God, I just lost my mind completely then. You've got the early start in that one. You've got Hornets Cavs, which is also an early start. That's a 3:30 p.m. Eastern start. We go Sixers Hawks, which is another sort of early start, a 6 p.m. start. Same with Milwaukee and Brooklyn. Then we go to the standard 7 p.m. tip, which is Sacramento and Minnesota. We've got New Orleans and Chicago. Then we've got the Lakers and the Suns, and then the late game tips at 6 p.m. Eastern. 6 p.m. That's Pacific and Eastern mixed together. 6 p.m. Pacific, which is the Golden State Warriors and the Portland Trailblazers. So we have 8 games on with an early beginning to the day. So get your lineup set. 3 p.m. Eastern is the beginning of the day. Let's just go through these games and have a look at who's in and who's out, and if we've got updates on things, because of course this stuff is ever changing. Kispert's out, Neesmith out, Shepherd out. We did get Alex Sarr, I believe, ruled out again, and Chris Middleton ruled out again. So Bub Carrington's value up, Justin Champagne's value up, Bagley up, Vukcevic up. So we've got those news updates come through. Hornets, Cavs, we also got a bunch of Hornets one that's just dropped. LaMelo Ball out, Trey Mann out, Colin Sexton out. Tijan Salan is now questionable. Larry Nance going to be out for the Cavs. We know Evan Mobley's out for the Cavs. I don't believe we've got an update yet on Allen. No, we don't. Allen and Merrill we do not have updates on, and they are important because if Allen plays, like I said, he just slots straight in for Mobley and nobody gets a bump. Because if Merrill also comes back, that just doesn't do anything. Like, players lose value. Sixers, Hawks. We don't have an official wording on this, but there was talk that Joel Embiid was not going to play like 2 games in 3 nights, not only back-to-backs, but initially just being careful of those 2 games in 3 nights, and he played Friday. So I'm going to put Embiid as doubtful for Sunday. Their next game after that is Friday, so it's a long break, but just be aware I don't have Embiid playing here. Maxey missed the last one. I've got him questionable. Porzingis has been ruled out again. Trae Young is out. Watford's out. Oubre is out. Bucks and Nets, Cam Thomas will be out. AJ Green, Big Boom AJ, he remains sidelined. That one, we actually know those statuses. The next games, we don't know them, but I'll give you what we're looking at. That's Minnesota and Sacramento. Dennis Schroeder and Zach LaVine. Schroeder's missed the last few weeks. LaVine missed the last game. Drew Eubanks got injured in the last game for Sacramento and didn't return. And then for Minnesota, Mike Conley, Anthony Edwards, and Bones Highland. And that is all very important because if Edwards was out, Conley could play more. And with Conley out, Highland would play more. And then all of them were out. So we've got Terrence Shannon. You've got a bit of Rob Dillingham. You might consider a Shannon stream if they're all out. But you've got to watch. Like if Edwards and Conley are out, then Bones is the guy. If he plays, there's a lot of moving parts and pieces with all those different options of who could be in and who could be out. Pelicans, Bulls, we just don't know about Dosunmu or Kevin Huerter. And obviously, if both of those guys return, then you've got really no value in Patrick Williams, Isaac Okoro, or Trey Jones. Zion Williamson also sort of out of nowhere. I have no idea how a grade 2 strain that was supposed to be evaluated in 3 more weeks is ready now. I'm not really sure. I do doubt that he plays in this game, Zion, but if he does, watch for what it does to Sadiq Bey. Watch for what it does to Bryce McGowan's. Watch for what it does to Derek Queen. Not only Derek Queen's minutes, but Derek Queen's play. Because there is an impact. And we just want to see what happens. And the next one is Lakers Suns. I do expect that Devin Booker is available for this one. This is not an official status, but I've got him as questionable. I think he's available. Then there's Isaiah Livers and Maxi Kleber. Don't really matter that much. What we do know is Austin Reeves is out for at least a week with a calf strain, of course. The last game of the day is the Warriors and the Blazers. The Drew Holiday remains out for the Blazers. Robbie Williams is probable, as is Donovan Clingan. So as per usual, when the opportunity arises for Williams to start, something happens to him and he doesn't get to do it. So they're both going to return here. Al Horford still remains questionable. Draymond missed the last game for personal reasons, so I'll put him as probable. I just don't know whether he's going to be available there. And then Scoot Henderson is still sidelined. We can come back and talk streaming in a sec, and we will do it for points leagues and category leagues. Just want to get you up to date on what was happening across the league. Today's episode, though, is brought to you by the big fellas over at ZocDoc, and it's almost the big 2026, the humongous 2026. So the days of waiting for something to be a full-blown emergency before you see a doctor, that's over. Don't walk it off. Don't shake it off. Don't worry about the haters and the fakers. You just need to get in there and get stuff checked out. Staying healthy isn't just eating healthy or going to the gym. It's making sure that you get things checked out when something feels off. ZocDoc makes scheduling easier, searching for in-network doctors, and you can book those doctor appointments right in the app without having to wait weeks. Don't worry about back and forth phone calls. It's all just there, easy, including same-day visits. It can help you stay on top of your health before something becomes a bigger problem. So stop putting off your doctor's appointments and get the care that you need. Go to ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. Don't worry about TikTok. You got ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA, ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA. All right, don't forget at this time, I'm telling you, we've got the Everydayer Club show that you can be a great supporter of this show and the Locked On Network, but $5 a month, ad-free shows. $5 a month is all it is. For ad-free shows, go to lockedonpodcast.com/everydayer, plus access to exclusive Locked On merch, exclusive national shows as well, plus an Everydayer Discord access too. So jump in there. All right, now it is a Sunday show, so we're going to go through streamers. And we've been talking about different cutoff situations that I can use. That's what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to look at the different levels that I've got. 60% rostered, 50% rostered, 40%, 20%, 10%. For points leagues, I'm going to give you at least 2 that fit into each category. So we'll start with Yahoo points. And again, some of these just seem obvious, but they're not rostered everywhere. And the Blizzard, Yas Derek Queen, is at 57%. He is a must-roster player. He has been for weeks. Despite that you think that I hate him and I'm unfair and he's the best of all time, he is a must-roster player. And we want to see what happens when Zion is back. We want to see what the impact is. But I'll put him there because he's 57% rostered. So for some reason, if your league just doesn't know what they're doing, go and grab him. Ryan Rollins is still there as well because he has been dropped in leagues. He should not be dropped. Jay Huff is just an absolute must-roster everywhere across the board. People need to wake up. He's under 30% rostered. Jeremy Grant, also just floating around on waiver wires. Kyle Kuzma, yeah. These are good stream options that fit under these roster percentage numbers. Jaden McDaniels is available in leagues. Excellent stream, just should be rostered. And then we get to some of the lower ones. Pat Spencer. The Warriors, just a complete mess. We saw the foreseeable future starting legends, Moses Moody and Will Richard, move out of the starting lineup. Moody played 22 minutes. Richard was a DNP. Pat Spencer's playing 28 minutes a night now. Buddy Hield is starting again. If you think you've got any handle on the Warriors guards, you never do. That's why none of them should be considered must-roster, outside of Steph. But Pat Spencer at the moment, they're rolling with him, so you roll with him. I expect that Embiid is out, so Andre Drummond's a good stream. With Saar out, with Middleton out, Bub Carrington's playing huge minutes. And he was really good last game, and even good the game before. So yeah, he's a really good stream here. And I got Rob Williams, even though he is, or Donovan Clingan is going to play. We're talking about a guy that's rostered in not that many leagues. And for points value, there's a little bit there. He's like 9%, I think. For ESPN, we're going to use the same cutoffs again. Some of the same names are going to appear. Just making sure that they're rostered guys. Derek Queen, Jay Huff, Colin Gillespie, Grayson Allen. All obvious must-roster players. But they're not. They're not rostered everywhere, so grab them. And if you want to just stream them in, do that. Marvin Bagley, with the absence of... I should have put Bagley on the Yahoo points one, but I'd created those graphics, and then Saar was ruled out, so again, put Bagley onto those lists. Marvin Bagley on the ESPN points stream list. I've got Kyle Kuzma there. Noah Clowney, who is still ridiculously 18% rostered. Rob Williams, Dylan Brooks, and Justin Champagny. A collection of guys with either 60%, 50%, 40%, 20%, or under 10% rostered on ESPN, at least 2 for each of those individual categories. Now, let's go to some category league streaming options. We'll start with the points category. I'll give you 5 names. And again, I've got, using Basketball Monsters' advanced roster percentage number, I'm going to do one of them under 60, one of them under 40, one of them under 25, one of them under 12, and one of them under 5. At least. So we've got a smattering across different league sizes. For points, we are going with Marvin Bagley. The second name there is the Empitsu, Rui Hachimura. Why? Well, Austin Reeves is out. So if there's anything that Rui can do, and sometimes I doubt that, but if there is anything that Rui can do, it's score points. And with one of the main usage players out, there are more shots to go to Rui Hachimura. So he's there. Bub Carrington, Tristan Vukcevic, we talked about the absence of Saar and the absence of Middleton, should push all of those guys up as well as Marvin Bagley. And then a guy that's just rostered nowhere, who is starting and playing 30 minutes, is Gary Trent. Why is he not rostered? Because he's not good. But a guy that can easily go off for 18 points from 6 threes, we have to have Gary Trent as a part of the discussion here. When we look at 3-pointers, I don't know who will start in place of Austin Reeves, but it very well could be Gabe Vincent. I think the automatic assumption seems to be that it's Marcus Smart, and maybe it is. But I think Vincent's got a chance. And he doesn't do anything else, but he can hit 4 threes here. Gary Trent's always online for 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 threes. Bubbles Carrington, you'd want him to do that, considering he does nothing defensively, but the minutes and the volume are going to be there. Quinton Post, especially if Draymond and Al Horford are out, which we don't know about. But Post has been playing really well. At the moment, he's very streamable, but of course, it's been without Horford and without Draymond. So consider the context of that. Another one there is Vic Krejci, who you might have a scenario there where you've got Porzingis out, but you also, Nickeil Alexander-Walker got listed as questionable for the Hawks. So you might have Krejci. It'd probably be Keaton Wallace who you'd want to keep on your radar, but Krejci will play more. He can play as a pseudo point guard as well. And he can hit threes for you too. Let's look at assists streaming. Got Bub Carrington at the top of this list. I've got TJ McConnell there, who isn't getting minutes, but the production's still ridiculously good. I mean, he's getting minutes, but he's not playing 24. I thought we'd need 23 to 24 to really make it work. But he was great in like limited minutes last game. But his assist numbers are going to be good pretty much irrespective. Jaeger Yeoman, I'm a little cautious on this one because his coach after the game said, yeah, like if bro's not going to do the things we want, he's just not going to play. And you'll notice this with their rookies. Like Drake Powell was getting 20 a night. He played 3 minutes last game. Ben Saraf went back to the G League and Nolan Traore played 10 minutes. You're seeing them just mix and match these guys. So don't be shocked if Yeoman comes down and plays 20 minutes here and Traore gets a chance at playing 20 minutes. They're just mixing and matching on guys and trying to teach them lessons and whatever they're doing. So I've got Yeoman there, not confidently. Marcus Smart is going to be a good stream option across the board in many areas here with Austin Reeves out. And then Lonzo Ball, a guy widely available. This is his strength. It's assists and steals. No reason you can't get 7 assists and 2 steals out of Lonzo. It's more likely going to be 4 and 1, but it's still something. And, a guy that's just available in lots of spots. For steal streaming, again, this is becoming one of the easiest categories to stream. Marcus Smart easily can get 5. DeAnthony Melton might only play 20 minutes like he did last game, but he might play 15 minutes. Or, again, there's just so many guys they can use. But he's a good steals guy, clearly. Pat Spencer, the minutes for him should be up, but be prepared at any point for them to drop. Jordan Goodwin, value would rise if Devin Booker is out, but even in 20 minutes or so, he can do something. And then in Portland, a guy that's not rostered anywhere, Chris Murray. I don't think that he's going to start. Don Klingon will move back into that spot, but Murray should get his 25 or so while Scoot remains out, and he can get you 1 or 2 steals. He's had a couple of double steal games of recent times. The last guard category we're going to look at is free throw percentage. And Luke Kennard, I've got Malik Monk there, and that's a tough one. Like Monk could be at the top of points and threes and assists very easily. But he also could play 15 minutes. He was very good last game. You know what I think of Malik Monk. But what if Levine and Schroeder play? What does Doug, Hader, and Faker Christie do? Because there's no predictability in the rotations at all. So yeah, like I actually like just rostering Monk in general, even though there's so much doubt about what Christie does. But I'll put him on this list, but just consider him everywhere else. Bud Hield is here. Jared McCain is here. Now, they are not going to be volume guys, but 2 of 2, 3 of 3 from the line is possible. And then a guy who's a big man, who is a really good free throw shooter, and I don't know what the Bulls are going to do, but Zach Collins. He was clearly better than Vooch last game. They used both backup centers. I'm intrigued, very much intrigued, to see exactly what this team does. It'll be very interesting to watch. A team like the Pelicans going up against the Bulls, where when you're a center going up against the Bulls, you get big numbers, huge numbers. But when you're a center going up against Derek Queen and the Pelicans, you know what you also can do? Huge numbers. So what do they do? This could be just a complete... I think the last time these two team plays, which wasn't long ago, Vooch wasn't there and they started Patrick Williams at center and then benched Matas Buzelis for the second half so Jalen Smith could play. So it's all over the shop. Just be ready for the big men in this game, Bulls, Pelicans, to put up monster totals because the other big men are terrible. Get ready for that. We'll come back and we'll talk about some of the big men stream options and some guard and big build overall stream guys. Today's episode, though, well, we're heading into 2026, and you look at your business and you go, we've got to try and figure out what those messy parts are and how we can make the business work better. And there's got to be that better way, and there is, because today's episode is brought to you by Quo, which is spelled QUO, the smarter way to run your business communications if you're ready to make your workday smoother and keep customers connected without the headaches. Quo makes upgrading your setup easier than ever. The streamlined system makes such a big difference when communicating with customers. You can have your calls and texts and voicemails all in one clean view. It keeps everything organized, helps you stay responsive. And they've got the AI summaries and the call logging, which can feel like having an assistant to keep track of every detail. It is surprisingly easy as well. You can work from your phone or computer and keep your existing number and add teammates in minutes. So make this the year where no opportunity and no customer slips away. Try Quo for free, plus get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/LockedOnNBA. That is quo.com/LockedOnNBA. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. Today's episode is also brought to you by FanDuel and FanDuel Sportsbook. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. That is what makes the live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds, every drive, every momentum swing. And every highlight moment, live betting, it's best when the game starts to shift. You see someone get hot. You see defense clamp down on somebody. You see a turnover that flips the momentum on its head. FanDuel lets you jump straight into those moments. They have live spreads and money lines which adjust instantly, player props that update as guys heat up. You can bet on things like next touchdown scorer, the result of a drive, the totals, and more. And it keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, and every possibility. They've got live betting on NBA as well, plus future bets for the NBA title, the NBA Cup, NBA Finals odds. The Thunder are minus 105 there, with the Nuggets being second favorite at plus 800. Check all that out over on FanDuel. When you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, that's where you go, to FanDuel.com. You can place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. And don't forget to gamble responsibly. All right, so let's dig in now for a bit more streaming option. We're going to look at big men, rebounds, blocks, field goal percentage. Who are the available stream guys that might be useful for us for Sunday's games? So if we look at rebound numbers, Marvin Bagley, Robbie Williams, Danny Wolf, who honestly, if you're in a league that's 175 deep, I think you just add Wolf at the moment. Because not only, he's not just necessarily playing center. He's playing small forward, he's playing point guard. Claxton's minutes are still there. Clowney's minutes are still there. Porter's minutes are still there. Wolf's getting them at the expense of guards. So keep an eye on that. Jericho Sims, I don't know what they're going to do with his minutes. He played 10 minutes last game, but is that going to happen in this one? I'm not sure. And then Isaiah Jackson, you don't get upside minutes with him, but you can get 5 or 6 rebounds out of that because he's got the 18, 19 minute a night role. For blocks, a lot of these names are the same. Rob Williams clearly at the top. Adem Bona working under the assumption that the big fella Joel Embiid is out. Isaiah Jackson, Marvin Bagley for blocks as well, and Tristan Vukcevic, who, again, we're working here because Sarr is out. Bagley will start. Vukcevic might play 20 minutes, might play 18 minutes. But he can have 2 blocks. He can have 11 and 7 with 2 threes and 2 blocks. He's a very good per minute producer. For field goal percentage, Rob Williams is always going to be near the top of these ones. Same with Marvin Bagley, Isaiah Jackson, and Adem Bona. And Jackson Hayes is one of the best field goal percentage guys in the entire NBA. Even if he only takes 4 shots, he probably hits 4 of them, or 3 shots. Might be just enough for you. Might not be, but it might be. If we want to look at just overall streaming for guard builds, so we're looking at points, threes, assists, steals, and free throw percentage. Marcus Smart right up the top. Bub Carrington, Pat Spencer, Gary Trent, if we go into some of the shallower deeper formats, and Jaeger Yeoman. Again, where I have a little bit of concern about what they're going to do with his minutes in the next game, but I will put him there, but understand there is risk with that. And then for big men, we go to rebounds, blocks, field goal percentage, but also steals is an important category for you to win in a big man build. So Robert Williams is there, Marvin Bagley is there, Isaiah Jackson is there, but the guy that pops in is Marcus Smart. Gets your steals, not a bad rebounder. Just helping, can occasionally block a shot, but he gets you those steals. And then Adem Bona is there as well. Again, we're working on the assumption. Why did I say that like that? I don't know what happened. I had a stroke. A lot of strokes recently. TIA legend. Adem Bona working under the assumption that Joel Embiid is not available, so Bona will get backup minutes behind Andre Drummond. And that is time for me to back this ass all the way out of this show. It was a look ahead to Sunday with the 8 games on. You can subscribe. Go check out the Week 9 preview show as well that I did. And then tomorrow we'll have a waiver wire show, a Monday preview show, and we'll have a recap show for Sunday's games. Of course we will. Guys, we are done here. Sleeper sucks. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.